Guys, so I've already made a couple black lace canes tonight, black and translucent. This one. Okay, so this one here was when it was large, and I've reduced it down, and I could put a couple more next to it too. And then, so that was the large one that I've reduced down now. Then I made this one, and it was a little too dark. These are just the ends. A little too dark. So, I think I know what I want now, and I'm going to create it. But people did want to see this cane, so I'm going to post this video, and this is just going to be a faster version of it, so you see how I put it together. So pretty much what I have here are 3 stacks of, I'm using Pardo translucent. I'm going to use the Pardo is on the thickest setting, and the black is on a 3, okay? We're going to do 3 different things with these 3 stacks, and then I have a bullseye with the Pardo and black. So first thing I'm going to do is I have a piece of black sausage here, and I'm actually going to put the black on the outside. Let me put these on my legs so the Pardo stays warm, because it cracks on me. So I'm going to put the black on the outside, mainly because that will help hold the Pardo together for me, because this is a little crumbly. And then we're going to wrap around, and that will give us something like this swirl here, okay? This one had a translucent log instead of a black log. This one had a translucent log. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to try to pull the black up and around just to make this end a little bit thinner. Just makes it a little easier to wrap. Okay. And again, this is going to be kind of a condensed version, because everything I've done on that one, I've done on this one, or I'm going to do on this one, just put it together differently. And that's what's the fun about these, is you can use the same exact simple canes and come up with a million different designs. So then I'm going to wrap this up and make a basic jelly roll. Easy enough. I'm going to also bring the black around again just to close the end off, so the end's fully closed off, okay? I'm going to reduce this down later, but for now that's what I have. Just a little bit. And remember, what you see on the end is not what you see in the middle. And definitely start off with easier canes like this. If you're not a cane person and you're not good at canes, these are the easiest canes to start with. I started making flowers out of just Skinner Blend bullseye canes, and then making the petal and just putting them together as circles. I mean, I wouldn't start with one of my most, or anybody's most complicated cane, because you might not do great at it, and then you're going to be discouraged to make other ones. So like my first cane that I posted is the rose, and even the other night when I messed up the rose, it still came out good. So that's the one I would say, if you're not good at canes, start with my rose. So there's that one. I'm going to set these on my leg too. Just try to keep them a little warm. Now with this one, we're going to cut and stack it. Let me just see if I can tell how long it is. It's about almost even, so let me just stretch it so it's even, so I can get even cuts. I know you can't see that, but I'm just putting it on my measuring board. And I might do like 1/2 inch cuts on it. And again, the camera's in my way, or maybe I'll do inch. Maybe I'll do inch cuts, since I can on this one. Doesn't really matter the size. And we're just going to simply stack these, white or translucent on top of black, black on top of translucent. It is Pardo, so it does look really white. The other thing I just noticed, because I haven't done much with Pardo, and I would definitely check out videos on how to condition it and stuff, when it was coming out of the oven, it wasn't getting clear. Like Primo translucent, if you look in your oven as it's baking, it'll look fairly clear after, 20 minutes or so. The Pardo didn't, and until it cooled off, I was like, oh my god, where's my piece? right here. I was like, oh my god, it was still really white. I was like, wow, that's not going to get clear. It did end up clearing up. So once it cooled, I was nervous for a second there. I was like, oh man. So there's that one. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. That one's a little bit longer. See if I can scrunch it up to get it about even. And we're going to do something slightly different with both of these. We'll stack these two. Okay, so now we have two basic stacked canes. Okay, now with one of them we're going to leave just basic stripes. The other one we're going to smear the clay to get this drag design here. Just like that, okay? So I'm going to start with the translucent. I want to pull more translucent if I can help it. So I'm going to take my blade. I don't have a card down here, I can't find it. So I'm going to take my blade, I wrapped it in cardstock, and we're just literally going to cut completely through this. It's again hard because the camera's in my way and it's got a charging cord on it. And it's okay if they're not even. You know, get close, but whatever if it's not perfect. Okay, now we'll drag the clay. We need to put these back together. That one like tilted upwards because it was so small. Either way, whatever, it'll be fine. Push it back together, and then we're going to go opposite with the back side of our blade on the black. That will just drag it a little bit in the other direction, but not as much because it's not as thick. So the thicker you use to push down through, the thicker the drag will be. I'm going to squish these back together. Okay. Good. So now we have all the parts. Now, the first one we're going to use is our jelly roll. And I'm going to reduce this down, but we're only going to really use this in one part, so I'm not going to reduce it much. This is going to be fairly big. Now I want to make this kind of an oval shape, so I'm going to begin just flattening the sides to make it a little more oval. Okay, this is going to be the point of our triangle. I am going to do a triangle on this one because I want to force some lines to curve, and you'll see how we do that in a minute. And that I learned from Fiona Abel Smith. You can get straight lines to curve by making a triangle into a square. Okay, so then I'm just lightly making it teardropped. Not crazy sharp, but a little teardrop here. And that will be the point of our triangle. Now that's really big compared to the other ones I have, so I might have to cut that in half, but I'll use it later in time. Let me cut the end off so we can at least, you guys can at least see what it looks like roughly. It's probably going to smear a little bit. Okay, there's still a little distortion there, but that will be ultimately the point. The next part is these here. So let me see how tall everything is. Yeah, everything else is about that tall. So this guy I gotta cut to about that height. Let me get rid of any distortion. And remember, you can mix this black up with this translucent and reuse the black later, because it's not that see-through, or it's not enough if you mix it with more black that you'll get plenty of the black is opaque enough that you won't have like translucent black, if that's what you're thinking. Shit. Oops. Shoot, I should say. Wrong side of my blade. I just dragged that. Okay. Okay, so there's that part. Now, I wanted to next take these here, and I'm going to make this, first I'm going to make it round. So first I'm going to make it a little skinnier. I'm going to squish it more side to side this way here. Make it a little skinnier. And we're going to need double the length because I want this, 2 of these, okay? Then we're going to make it round by taking our fingers and doing this on the corners. So if you push in on the corners, see how it starts to round it? I'm hoping this one will come out how I want. I've had to do a couple testers. I'm just going to do a gentle roll just to even it off. Do I have 2? I should have 2 there. Now we're going to teardrop it, and I think, do I want to teardrop it with the, yeah, I think I'm going to teardrop it with this black side. So I'm going to teardrop this one as well. These got a little flat. Okay, and these are going to go here, right here. So let me minus the distortion. I should have enough for 2 of those, but we're going to get more distortion anyway, so I'm not overly worried. Okay. That's kind of what that will look like inside of it. Okay. Refine your shape up. And if you're not sure where they're going to go, just set them close together until you're sure how you want to put them together. Okay, so these I'm thinking will go here. I want it a little bit pointier. A little bit narrower. Which may make it a little taller, but that's okay. Again, just have fun. So there's those. Now, I'm going to need, I want a triangle in here, which is the whole point of this guy. So I'm going to make this a triangle just by taking my 2 fingers and pushing it down towards the board. Do it on different spots so my board stops tipping. Okay, and this, oh, I'm just going to do that end a little bit more. Because it's getting a little longer, I'll cut off the distortion off this too. And that way you guys can see actually how I'm setting it up together. Normally I don't cut the distortion off, but in this case, so you can see how I'm actually making it, or what I'm putting where. If I cut it off. Now I am going to need 2 of these, so let me try to lengthen it a little bit. I forgot I needed 2. Almost. Yeah, I should be able to get 2 out of that. Yep, okay. So the first one is gonna go here on top of this guy. Now I want to kind of round him a little bit. So you could take like a paintbrush or something skinny, that might help. So this paintbrush and kind of force one of the 2 corners down so it rounds around this a little bit. If you had cane benders, those would work. I do not. Just kind of, it made it kind of a groove in here, and I'm just widening it because that was a wider circle than that. Okay, and I just set that right on top of that guy. And then we got to get these to fit in here. Like this. I know it's a little longer, but that's okay. And then maybe, I have one more, but what if I take this and make this really small and we stick them right there? What if we do that? Reduce this down really, really tiny. And most of the time, I even reduce these simple canes with the tapping, not rolling. I mean, I roll it out just to get my fingerprints out at the end, but most of it I reduce this way so I get less distortion in the middle. And it pushes the air out from the middle outwards. Now these got to get really small. You can also pull on it, especially once it gets moving. I want those to fit in there, and then let's make it triangle too. Why not? I like these because you can really just honestly play. With a triangle, it should be equilateral sides, you know? Well, at least an equilateral triangle. So if you flip it and push all sides, that will make sure it is. Okay. See? We'll take those, maybe stick those down in there. Yeah. Why not? I didn't plan on that, but my drawing does one thing and actually doing it does something else. Like my fiance says that he does operates like heavy equipment and stuff, and the engineers out of school will design a building or whatever, and he'll be like, it can't work, and they'll be like, well, that's what the paper says, and he's like, yeah, but there's this huge boulder that no amount of pulling on is going to move, so just because the paper says it doesn't mean it can be done. So my drawing of this one doesn't mean it was actually turning out like that, you know? So sometimes you got to modify. So I was going to put a second triangle there, but it actually, these 2 little ones actually worked out better. And then the only other thing I was going to do was put this guy. And so he's going to need to be 1, skinnier, 2, he's got to at least be as tall as this one, because this is excess up here. Or you could have it, you know, you could have the lines go this way. or this way if you have enough to cut, you know, and put it that way. Oh, what am I doing? I made that a little too skinny, didn't I? Got a little carried away there. I should cut all this extra length off right now so I can see exactly what I have. And then I was going to set him, I think, the translucent side down. Or is that going to be too much translucent? What if we do the black side? No, I want to do the translucent side. Maybe a hair longer right here in the middle. Like that. So that's my triangle, right? And now we're going to reduce it as a triangle, like we usually do. Just by pushing on the sides. Now, I am not good with triangles. So for me, I struggle with making these triangle things. We're going to be looking to set two next to each other, just like that, okay? So I'm just going to get a triangle pretty much. And I'm working mainly in the middle right now. And the smaller you reduce any of these type of canes down, the more fine it gets. So like this one started out like this. I haven't baked up the ends from this yet. But this one ended up like this. So this one that I did first was a lot, or this one obviously was a lot bigger. And I think on this type, where there was so much design, I should have left it bigger. It would have been clearer. So you'll kind of have to, I shouldn't have brought it down that far if I was going to keep that one. I still have it. I still have it. It's right here. And it's not horrible. It's just not exactly what I was looking for. So I just got to reduce it enough to get two of these. And then we're going to put them together. And I don't want a lot of distortion, so I'm not going to go far with these, with this. Here, let's go a little bit more. I'm trying to keep my ends as flat as I can so I don't get tons of distortion. It's about 2 inches, so I'll cut it in half. We're going to put it together like however we want. So we'll probably put it together like this. And then we're going to round. So when you force this shape, we're going to force this shape into a square. And the way we're going to do that, well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to force it, which I think leaving this the point, we're going to make this a triangle again because it's kind of a diamond right now. So let me exaggerate the diamond shape so you guys can see. It's kind of a diamond shape right now. And so when we force this, whatever part flat, and I don't want to do my circles, I think I want to leave those, it'll get them to kind of round a little bit. So we're with keeping this point, and I learned this from Fiona Abel Smith. She does this with canes. With keeping this point, so that's how I got these ones rounded here. These were just straight stacks right there. That's how all of it rounded. So with holding this point together, we're going to force these bottom parts to touch the table. And we're going to force this into another triangle. And then we'll put these together and we can make a square. And then reduce it as a square. So I'm going to need enough again to cut this in half. Or you could just put a bunch of triangles together and make a cane like this, or a design like this. I just have a hard time working with triangles, so I try to make it a square. Because like when I did this one, I fit all these pieces nicely, and then I got to this last one. Well, one, it tore on me because I cut it too thin, but two, it wouldn't have even fit if I kept it the right size. So I have a hard time with them. And that's just me, which I don't really care. It is what it is. I can just make it a square, and I'll do that in 2 seconds. So I'm just reducing this down. Now I have a plan to use this in a project coming up. Oh, that's really stuck. On part of a pendant for fall, or for Halloween, but more for fall. Just a little bit more. Let me see if I can pull on it and get it to move that much. Okay, so we'll cut that in half, then we're going to put it together and make a square out of it. I mean, you could have made it a square out of it last time if you wanted it like that, but I wanted to try to force some stuff to move a little bit. Which it really actually didn't curve much at all. Okay, now I'm going to put them together like this. That's going to be a pretty one. Yep, I'm much happier with that. That's a good one. Good thing I recorded this because I didn't write it down. Okay, so now we have kind of a diamond. So I'm going to push on the corners a little bit, get them to go in, and all we need to do is skew this pretty much, because it's pretty much, we got 4 corners already right here. So we just need to lay one of them flat, right? So it kind of looks like that. We're going to pull this that way. You know, we're going to make it a square. So I'm going to, let me see if I can change the angle here. Okay, so I'm going to begin pushing and kind of pulling it that way. See that? Can you see it? Usually I reduce it this way and then my fingers just do it. So I'm trying to get it so you can see what I'm doing, but that's not really weird for me to work on it. Like this. And as you start making it, reducing it like a square, it will go into a square shape. Yep, this is going to be a pretty one, huh? That's going to be really pretty. I'm going to back out because that's right in front of my face. So now it's definitely a lot more square. That's going to be gorgeous. Ooh, I really like this one. You guys are going to like this one too. So now I'm just going to reduce it a little bit, not too much. One, I don't want to get too much waste, but two, I don't need them that small. I mean, I guess it depends how many repeating patterns you want on your pendant, but for me, on a pendant this size, if that was what I was using, you know, I could put 2 pieces on there and be fine with it. Or I could make it smaller and get the whole design on it. But again, the smaller you get, the smaller your design's going to get. So if you make it really small, make your design very open. And if it's really large, if your pattern's really large, you can make it smaller. can always remake more of this in the future. But honestly, it probably won't come out the same. They never do. And you can do this in whatever colors you want. I just wanted to try to make a black. Was my goal. All day I've been trying and haven't really been getting what I wanted. Let me roll it just to even it out. Even out my fingerprints. Finger indents. I don't really care about the prints, the indents. Okay. Let me use my new blade. Let me cut a hunk off because there's quite a bit of distortion there, but I do want you to see it. And keep these ends. Definitely keep these ends. Oh, I love this pattern. Oh, guys, you're going to love it. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Actually, let me see if I can cut a slice out of that. This is my new blade. Yep, I'll keep that. See these from the other one I made? Keep these ends too. These are pretty cool. Whereas this is the pattern, but that was like an end I got. I thought that was pretty cool. To make awesome lentils and stuff. Beautiful. I'm in love. This will be gorgeous. Yep. Let me try this one. Yep, this will be gorgeous. Let me cut a few off of this one, even though they're distorted. Some, I'll use this in my book. So I can remember, oh, I need 4. So I can remember what I did. So they're not going to be perfect, but that's what I put in my book. Let me grab some scrap clay. I don't have any bright colors left. Let me do some yellow. I got some souffle yellow left. I've been using my scraps today. And this is, again, just going to be for my book, really. So late, you know, some other time I want to go back and remake this pattern or something similar to it. I have an idea of what I did. For me, I can always watch my video, but when I wasn't making videos, that's what I did, is I put it in my book. And these aren't crazy thin, so they're probably not going to bake up like crazy translucent either. It's just for my guiding myself. Let's do the center first. Now, when I actually cut this, I will make those corners on that cane really sharp. So that they all, like this one's blunted, so that they all try to match up well. Again, this is a distorted end, so it ain't going to be that perfect. I said ain't. So I will take these and really define all of these corners when I actually go to use this on a project. And that way they fit together much better. Again, something I learned from Fiona Abel Smith, because she does a lot of these type projects. So if you actually make them really sharp, they fit together better. This one's a lot thicker. Now that one's definitely distorted because it has some black on the inside, but it's okay. Yeah, whatever. It's going to be a lot taller than the other ones. Ultimately, it'll give me what I need, just a view of it. And then with this one, I think I'm going to try to shave it off because it is way tall. First, let me get it back off whole. Stretch it out a little bit because it was also shorter that way. I really like this one. This is what I've been trying to achieve all day, and I haven't been getting what I wanted. Not that the other ones are horrible, they're just not what I wanted or what I was looking to achieve. There we go, I'll shave a piece of that off. Usually what I'll do is if I have a gap in the middle, I'll take some of this stuff, put it down in the middle there. I can get off my fingers now. And then for this, I'll take a piece of parchment. Just flatten it off, get my fingerprints out of it. That's going to be a pretty one, guys. I keep calling you guys. I should say ladies. This one's, because I assume more women watch. I shouldn't say ladies. People! It's my habit. I say guys a lot. Hey, guys. I notice when I'm editing my video, because every time I pause, I come back and go, okay, guys. That's awesome. Reminds me of a Zentangle design. And remember, they're just end canes, so the real thing's going to be even better. Now, what I would do with my scraps, you know, this scrap I'll probably keep, because I could make one in the future with that. What I would do with my scraps, and I showed this in the other video, I love using the ends because you can really create some really awesome thing with your ends. A lady the other day, or yesterday I think it was, made my rose, and she was bunching up her scraps and she came up with an awesome bead. So I love using my scraps, my end canes, to make some really cool looking beads. I'm going to mix that with the yellow and we'll use that. So I don't usually make I don't tend to use cabochons, though I do have molds. But this is a great way to use your cabochon molds. Also to make lentil beads, what I'm going to do next. And I like to use them for the backs of my pendants if I need a backing. So I've already made a couple with the other canes. I'm going to mix that up. And then I'll show you what we'll do with all of these scraps. I'll be right back. So I would use all these scraps this way, okay? I have a piece of scrap clay that was that yellow and green or whatever mixed together, and just lay on your end canes. And then either swirl it or just roll it in your hands, put it in a cabochon mold, do whatever you want. This does not need to be perfect by any means. Just kind of get it on there, covering everything up. Maybe this one, so there's not a thick black. Just cover up your clay. And you can come up with, I mean, sometimes I could have patterns that I'm like, God, I wish I could replicate that just because it's so cool looking. You might as well use these up. And again, you can mix this up and reuse the black with the translucent in it. Just like I did my white and translucent cane. This was white mixed with translucent. Tons of translucent. So you can use those to make projects for that clay. It would just be black clay. Oop, rip that one, that's okay. Okay, let's take maybe a slice of this thing, just to fill in the little gaps. Like that. Roll it in your hand, make sure no yellow is really showing. Good, and then pick a part to swirl if you want to swirl it, or flatten it out the way it is. I like to swirl them and see what kind of weird stuff occurs. Because you can get some really, really interesting things going on with your ends here. Flatten it out. This really reminds me of a Zentangle drawing. And then, you, like I said, you could put this in a cabochon mold. If if you have more yellow showing than you want, you could just take a piece of your, you know, like either cut a really thin piece off and cover it up. Because no one will really know but you. And I don't, like I said, don't tend to make cabochons. So I'm going to roll this through my pasta machine. And this I would totally use as a backing. Yeah, that's cool. Even that side right there where it got really thin, that's awesome to me. I really like that. Even here. Come on, that looks awesome. I think it does. Super interesting. So I made a couple others earlier with my other canes and put them in there, and I'll use these for backings at some point. Oh, I didn't cut this one. Usually I cut my sheet protectors. I cut the edge off. Okay, so I'm going to get that in the oven, and I'll make sure I show it to you when it's done. And I had fun. This one turned out exactly what I was trying to achieve. So remember, it's just an end cane. So here's the actual cane there. I can get it to focus. Here we go. Someone said I need to hold it longer, so. You see the little swirls we put in? You could have made those black dots. You could have made anything you wanted. This part's the triangle, the bullseye triangle that we made. Cool. Okay. So again, it took me 3 tries to get exactly what I wanted, but I'm pretty thrilled with that one. After I played around for a bit and realized what I liked and what I didn't like, I finally knew what I wanted to do to put it together. Okay, I'm going to get it in the oven, and I'll show you it later when it's done. So my oven's just about to ding, but I wanted to show you the Pardo when it first comes out of the oven, because it definitely at first made me nervous, because I'm not very familiar with Pardo. So when I open it up, I thought I was going to see a whole bunch of translucent, like the color behind. And do you see how it's still fairly white? I was like, oh my god, that's not clear. And that made me nervous the first time. It really did. I was like, oh, whoa. I wanted a clear. Also, it gets really shiny. So I usually just take a paper towel. I can't hold the camera and show you this, but just wipe it off when it's warm. I'm finding it's an easier way, but that would sand off. A little alcohol would take that off. Oh, it's hot. Good. Okay, you see how it's pretty white? Not very translucent. Well, as it cools, it will get more translucent. I'll show you in a minute. Oh, that's hot. All I did was walk to my basement. So do you see how white it is? That's how this one looked. It's exactly how it looked. And I was like, what is going on? Why is it not see-through? Because I expected to see this right out of the oven, because the Primo looks like clear right out of the oven, but the Pardo does not. So these are still smoking hot. Like I said, all I did was walk downstairs. I'm going to get them off of that tile, and that way it'll cool off a lot faster. Hang on one sec, let me let them cool off. I'll be back. Okay, so I just did a quick sand and then buff. And obviously the thinner I cut it, the better it's going to look. And remember, these are just end canes, so it's going to be distorted some. But I really like that design. Here's that other one I did. It looks like that because I think it's this souffle in it. But again, I didn't sand a lot. I just sanded a little bit. And these are ends as well. So this one's this cane. The ends from that cane, and this one's the ends from this cane. Which I really like. I think it looks cool. Now definitely the swirls. The swirls up here and there. Those show up pretty black on this. Now again, it could just be that these slices are a little thick and it's the end cane. So we'll see when I bake it on good pieces if you can actually see that swirl, or if I should have just made it like a solid color, either a black bullseye or a translucent bullseye, but either way it's showing up pretty black. So anyways, there's that. And I will add this into my book of different translucents that I've made. Black translucents at least. At some point, maybe I'll make that a white translucent or a black-white layer or whatever, you know. But it probably, again, won't turn out the same. I don't know. They'll all turn out different. So anyways, these are the basic canes pretty much. You know, a bullseye in two different tones. This is a black in the middle, translucent, trans in the middle, black on the outside, a jelly roll. Obviously they're distorted, they're a little smeared, which is why they don't look as clear as like that one does, or as clear as that one does, but oh well. Okay, I will see you guys later.